Hello guys, my name is Lassi and today we're going to check out this microphone, Stealth from Aston Microphones, and see how it sounds at recording screaming vocals. Let's jump right into it. So the signal you will be hearing on the mix obviously starts from Stealth microphone itself. It goes straight into my Audient ID22 interface. From there, the signal goes straight to my DAW, where I have my raw DI signal spiced up with some post-processing. I wouldn't consider myself as a professional mixer or audio engineer. What comes to post-processing part, I actually pretty much took what Jordan from Hardcore Music Studio showcased in his aggressive screaming vocals video. So yeah, all that being said, let's get into the video itself. So this microphone, Stealth from Aston, is usually compared to Shure SM7B microphone, which is probably the most widely known business standard microphone for recording spoken word, such as broadcasting. But it's also a fantastic microphone to record something like electric guitar, clean singing, and even screaming vocals. And I've already seen a ton of comparison videos of people comparing these two microphones at recording clean singing and acoustic guitar. But since Shure SM7B has been pretty much untouchable at recording screaming vocals especially, and these two microphones are considered as similar together, I figured that a specific video for this microphone at screaming vocal recordings had also to be done. So first off, this is a dynamic microphone, just like Shure SM7B, which is actually a great thing, especially when working in non-treated kind of studio rooms. Also, especially for screaming, there is absolutely no need for super detailed kind of condenser microphones. Stealth has 4 different built-in recording modes. The V1 mode resembles the Shure SM7B standard frequency response the most, and in my opinion those two settings are actually pretty close to one another. Many people actually criticize Aston Stealth for being too harsh, especially for some upper mid frequencies, but in my opinion, what comes to screaming vocals, that's not a bad thing at all. I think that's something that would otherwise have to be boosted in the post-editing part when you want to have your screaming vocals to be cutting through the mix. One other thing that is very interesting to me is that Aston Stealth has its built-in gain booster, which gets automatically engaged if the channel has the source of phantom power switched on. In that case, the purple light at the bottom of the microphone gets switched on as well, which you can also switch off for some reason, and it doesn't affect the signal in any way. Maybe some people just don't like the color purple. Since we are now talking about the dynamic microphone, we need lots of gain. And if you're someone who doesn't have access to high quality preamps in their studio setup, some kind of external gain boosting device such as Cloud Lifter would be something you would like to be considering having your hands on. In my case, the Audient preamp has done the trick for me, even though in that case I really have to crank up my gain from the preamp channel. In my opinion, at least for singing or even screaming purposes, the internal gain booster feature is just plain useless. The ridiculous amount of boosting, like 50 decibels or so, it's kind of automatically adds bad sort of distortion to the sound, which we do not want even for the screaming purposes.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
In comparison with SM7B, I think this microphone isn't necessarily just as convenient to use. Many people producing high energy vocals usually like to keep their hands on the microphone. This microphone actually doesn't respond too well for that. While grabbing this microphone in your hand, it definitely produces more background noises than SM7B. This microphone is also very top heavy and it's not super stable if you use the adapter that comes with the microphone itself. You really need to tighten up the screw like inconveniently tight if you're not a fan of your mic dropping from your stand mid-session.
People work really, really hard for their dreams, but it's not meant for everybody.
That's why you use auto-tune and I don't.
I would also suggest you to use an external pop filter to cut off some of those most nasty, gnarly P's and T's. So yeah, this is pretty much how the screaming vocal track actually sounds by itself. I just made this recording as an example of the sound that you can get from this microphone with some usual kind of post-processing. So I didn't do anything like super fancy at this screaming part. I only took 2 separate takes, no any kind of doubling. Let me just first remove the effects from the stereo out bus. And this is how the vocals sound when the insert effects are bypassed. I also had this one stereo delay kind of effect enabled. So this is how Aston Stealth microphone sounds at screaming, all dry, only run through my Audient interface preamp. So yeah, this is how this microphone Aston Stealth actually performs as the microphone recording for screaming vocals. This microphone is currently, at least here in Finland, a bit more affordable than Shure SM7B, and for a bit lower price I think you get not only a fantastic microphone for screaming and gritty vocals, but also a very versatile tool for any kind of instrument recording with a fairly unique sound. I don't think this €100 difference is really a deal breaker to one way or another. I think this is fairly easy to make cut through the mix since it has its boost in upper mid-range. I also like how this microphone can take a lot of post-processing, such as EQ and a shit ton of compressing. I honestly believe that I will be seeing this microphone a lot more in the future of new screaming vocal recordings. If you liked this video, please consider leaving a like or comment down below and let me know whether you agree with me or whether you think that this microphone sounds like an absolute horse shit. Thank you so much for watching and we will catch up next time.